Because of the cracks, I think your only option really is to put the French drain around the perimeter. Your other option is to let the water come in and try to catch it in things like this, and then have it go out. But if you're using the space for any storage, having all this moisture in here renders it pretty useless, even if it is flowing out. And then this, of course, is the space where the water heater is. And incidentally, it's not so great for the water heater to be sitting right on that wet surface either. It's just rusting it and rotting it. So that,
again, this is
should be on a platform.
We didn't know we would have this much water.
So the whole basement is about 20, let's just say it's 20 by 8. There, where you would have to dig down on all 4 sides. And then there's maybe, as we discussed earlier, these 2 walls here, you'd probably just want to pour another 4-inch thick foundation against it. Mm-hmm. With the epoxied in rebar, as we discussed, spanning across the cracks. Staples.
Right.
And then here you have...
So I'm just going to interrupt you. You're saying the French drain system would be in here?
No, I'm saying the French drain system would be all around the perimeter of this, so you'd have to get outside of this structure. In other words, here, one would be digging outside of this wall.
Right.
Over there, you'd be digging, what is it, are you under the deck there?
Yes.
Under the deck. Deck might have to be taken up in order to do that.
Right.
Here, you would be digging on the back side of this little wall. Fortunately, this wall is only a couple feet high. And over there, you'd be digging on the outside of, of that raised wall. So, on
2 feet down.
On 2 sides, you're somewhat obstructed by the deck. On the other sides, you have pretty good access. I would just say that the crack in the slab at this point is really not worth getting too excited about.
Okay.
But I would definitely want to be addressing these cracks because, as we said, when you go to sell this place a few years from now, it's going to come up again as to why are these cracks here, what's happening.
Right. Can you talk about, I understand the French drain as it relates to around this area, but what about the downspouts from the house? Wouldn't they have to go into some sort of...
Right, so the downspouts around the house, which we can see all over, are simply dumping, like this one right next to the foundation.
Right.
That's an easier operation to simply trench all along the house. Now that trench does not have to be as deep as the basement. Although here we are going to be trenching as deep as the basement anyway.
Because
we're trying to get
as
low as the basement.
Right.
And the same holds true here. So some of these trenches would already have the pipe in them, the solid pipe that's going to be catching all the downspout water. And then in other areas of the house along the front, and perhaps over here on these far sides, the drain, the trench for the drain might just need to be on the order of a foot deep. Whatever depth it requires to just get it out here to the field behind us.
Okay.
And then you might also want to take note of this with the camera, this undermined area that we're talking about here.
Yeah.
If we're going to be out here pouring concrete to do these little staple repairs,
yes,
this area right here would be a candidate then for perhaps another thickened footing coming out away from the house just to fill this all in, because this is becoming a little bit undermined here right now.
Right. What do the conditions have to be of the soil and the weather in order to do the repair?
You can pretty much do the repair at any time of the year. I mean, obviously, if it's, if you're trying to do it during a
rain
period where it's just raining every day, that's not great. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, we've done drainage work at all times of the year. You're just not doing it on rainy days.
Okay.
And it does get a little sloppy if you're trying to do it in the midst of a 2-week heavy rain period.
Okay.
Dry is better.
Will your proposal then include the French drains for the site as well? And
Yeah, and I do want to clarify that my proposal is really sort of a hybrid engineer and contractor report where, like with this stuff, there's the added question of does the county or city require any engineering for any of this? I've never pulled permits or submitted plans for drainage.
okay.
Hasn't happened yet where it's been required. Although if you ask a lot of these cities and municipalities, they probably would tell you they want you to have it. With regard to the concrete repairs we'd be talking about, they would, if you ask them, tell you they want to see drawings and some sort of, perhaps even engineering calculations. So that's something that the client has to decide if they move forward,
Right.
whether they're going to get that or not. We've done it.
Both ways?
Both ways.
Right.
So anyway, my proposal is going to be. It's really going to be an engineer contractor guesstimate based on having done this
Okay.
many times in the past.
Great.
But it's not going to be a precise price because it's not a contract, for example. It's just
Understood.
based on having done it a lot of times and ballpark prices of what I think the fair value to have this stuff done is.
As long as, and it will include like the scope of work too, like
Oh
what
yeah,
you're talking
it'll
about.
describe first of all what the problems are that we're seeing. It's really more of a report. It
Yeah,
describes
I
what
get
we're
it.
seeing, what are the problems, what are perhaps the sources of the problems, what's the suggested technical fix, and then what's the approximate guesstimate price to execute that fix.
Sounds good. I'm turning off.